massive explosions 4 minutes apart destroy a chemical plant and rock the Nevada desert for miles around. They're captured on tape by a TV technician on nearby Black Mountain. He begins taping when a fire rages out of control at the Pacific Engineering and Production Company, or Pepcon. As fire crews race to the scene, plant workers desperately fight the flames.
The plant employees tried to fight this fire on their own for a while. They figured they could put it out. Well, it kept escalating on them.
Paramedic Larry Sullivan is one of the first to respond.
I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, I knew what was in there.
What is in there is a massive quantity of a highly potent component of rocket fuel used by NASA to send space shuttles into orbit. So when the first small explosion rocks the plant, fear spreads among the 73 workers inside. Among the employees is process engineer Dave Thayer.
Of course, something like that happens, there'd be a lot of panic and unrest, and so everybody started to leave the building at that time.
All the people in the plants didn't even get in their cars. They just ran through the desert.
It turns out to be the smartest thing they can do. When the chemicals inside the plant explode, 2 employees are killed. Dozens more still fleeing are injured.
It felt like somebody had punched you right in the face. Later I found out that both my eardrums were gone.
Dave Thayer and his supervisor father have made it as far as the parking lot when the blast knocks them off their feet.
He stood up and I stood up, and we realized at that point that we'd been blown about 75 or 100 feet down the parking lot and over the top of probably 10 or 15 cars.
The first big explosion and several smaller blasts spread the fire towards Pepcon storage yards filled with thousands of barrels of chemicals.
The fire is escalating. I mean, it's really huge. It's a gray, orange, very scary-looking cloud, and it's huge. I mean, now it's getting to 2,000 feet in the air.
Then comes the second blast that survivors call simply the big one.
I mean, this thing was huge. It was awesome. You could see the shock wave coming across the ground at you. I put my head down, and the shock wave just rocked our truck.
Dave Thayer and his dad are down a small incline on the edge of an evaporation pond when the big one hits.
So we're crouching at the edge of the pond, looking back at the fire. And this time it knocked us about 25 feet out into the pond.
The second explosion demolishes what's left of Pepcon and everything else within a quarter-mile radius. It rocks nearby Las Vegas with the force of a 3.5 earthquake. It also blows apart an underground natural gas pipeline, triggering towering flames that can be seen for miles. The blasts do more than $70 million worth of damage, destroying a neighboring plant and affecting more than 3,000 homes and businesses. After the blasts, investigators dig through the rubble. They discover there was a huge surplus of ammonium perchlorate, the rocket fuel component at the plant.
Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission.
2 years earlier, NASA had put the space shuttle program on hold after a national tragedy.
Challenger, go with throttle up. Roger, go with throttle up. Flight throttle, go ahead. RSO reports vehicle exploded.
In the aftermath of the Challenger disaster, NASA never cuts off their order for fuel, so Pepcon continues to manufacture ammonium perchlorate. They just keep piling it up in plastic containers. Robert Caligiuri is a specialist for Failure Analysis Associates, the company Pepcon hired to investigate what happened.
On the day of the explosion, May 4th, 1988, there were on the order of 9 million pounds of ammonium perchlorate on the facility. Normally, they would have no more than 2 or 3 million pounds.
But what caused that fuel to detonate? Pepcon blames a gas leak in that underground pipeline. By itself, ammonium perchlorate is relatively stable.
But if you mix ammonium perchlorate with a organic material, a carbon-based material, like natural gas, you make an explosive.
Local fire investigators blame the tragedy on a spark from a cutting torch. According to Chief Fire Investigator Mike Patterson, the fire creates the right conditions to set the ammonium perchlorate off.
You were mixing other things with it, aluminum from the melting aluminum bins that they were in, and all kinds of impurities.
Including melting plastic from the storage containers. In the end, Pepcon is fined for safety violations. Pepcon's gone now, moved to Utah, but the vivid memories of that day live on.
Well, it looked like a war zone. I mean, everything at that whole plant was either twisted, burned, destroyed, or flattened.
The smoke and the debris just rolled up almost like an atomic bomb. In fact, a lot of people thought it was an atomic bomb explosion. They're still scared to this day.
Ignited by fire and fed by 9 million pounds of ammonium perchlorate, the massive Pepcon disaster resonates to this day in the stillness of the Nevada desert. In the world of skydiving, it is perhaps the most dangerous mid-air maneuver ever attempted. Called the Diamond Track, it places 2 free-falling skydivers on a near collision course at a combined speed of over 300 miles an hour. There is no margin for error. The maneuver begins at an altitude of 13,000 feet. 2 jumpers leap from the plane, smoke canisters tracing their paths. At 8,500 feet, they turn, placing themselves on a collision course, only to veer away at the last minute, passing by within just 20 feet of each other. For Sergeant First Class Dana Bowman, the danger of the Diamond Track is what skydiving is all about.
The faster the fall, the better off you are, and the more adrenaline you have, and it just heats you up. And you just want to keep going and going and going.
As a member of the United States Army's elite skydiving team, the Golden Knights, Dana regularly performs perilous maneuvers. But nothing comes close to the thrill of the high-speed Diamond Track.
A lot of guys on the team thought about what would happen if you were skydiving, you were doing a Diamond Track, and you did a high five. You know, just hand slap. You'd probably break both hands.
There's the plane. Yeah, there's a couple of them just jumped.
On February 6, 1994, the team is rehearsing in the sky above Yuma, Arizona. Dana and his longtime partner, Sergeant Jose Aguillon, begin their jump. They've performed the Diamond Track over 50 times without a hitch until now.
Everything was going great. We gained speeds of right around 150 miles an hour, and we continued to streak back towards each other. We were to cross at right around 35 to 4,500 feet, but that wasn't the case.
Of course, those guys, they got a smoke bomb tied to their foot, and whoa, they hit. They hit, my God, they hit. Oh. Oh.
Dana and Jose collide in midair at over 300 miles per hour. At that speed, Jose's arms act like a machete, severing both of Dana's legs. The impact opens Dana's chute, and he floats to the ground, unconscious. Jose is killed upon impact.
I didn't feel anything. My left leg went to the ground, and my right leg was caught on one of his snap links, and he landed with my right leg on him.
Dana is rushed to a nearby hospital, where he lies in a coma for 2 days. Upon awakening, he learns not only of his best friend's death, but that he has lost both of his legs.
When I finally pulled the sheets up and I looked underneath there and there was nothing there. And I thought about everything that I did in the military, and I just added it all up and I said, you know, maybe it's going to be hard, maybe it's not. I didn't know.
In just a matter of seconds, Dana Bowman's life has changed forever. In midair, traveling at over 300 miles per hour, he and Jose had miscalculated their paths. By the time Dana realized the error, there was nothing he could do.
For a split second, I did see his eyes and, you know, I seen distress. But what do you do? What do you think? It takes seconds to think about things, and we had no time to think.
His complete rehabilitation will take nearly 7 months. Learning to walk is just the first hurdle. Dana must also adapt to a life as a double amputee. Those who know him best, like his commander, Lieutenant Colonel Danny Green, feel if anyone can recover, it will be Dana.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Dana Bowman has the don't quit attitude. I mean, my goodness, the man lost both his legs in a very traumatic accident. But to come back as quickly as he did takes a very special person to be able to do that.
Dana doesn't consider his comeback complete until he regains the life he had before the accident. He re-enlists in the United States Army and is invited to rejoin the Golden Knights.
Well, I did it. I'm here. I went through a long way with recovery, and I'm just glad to be back here. Especially to be standing here on my feet.
To get there, Dana trains with his old unit to prove that he can handle the rigors of returning to the Golden Knights jumping team. Just 188 days after his accident, he is airborne with them again. He re-enlists 13,000 feet in the air and is reinitiated into the Golden Knights with a celebratory jump. His parents watch proudly below.
You have to prove yourself, being in my position. Everybody was questioning, can he do this, can he do that? You know, why do I have to keep proving to people?
Well, I often wondered, hey, if something like this happened to me, you know, would I return to skydiving? I tell you the honest truth, my gut feeling is probably I wouldn't.
Dana regularly skydives now with a team of amputee jumpers known as Pieces of Eight. He also carries the Olympic torch before the Atlanta Summer Games.
I showed the entire world that it doesn't matter if you lose your legs, you can still continue to drive on. You know, the words of amputee and uselessness, if you think about them, they're not synonymous, especially uselessness.
Dana Bowman is now turning his sights on becoming the first double amputee commercial pilot, learning to fly both helicopters and planes. He refuses to give up,
They hit, my God, they hit.
proving to himself, the United States Army, and the world that perseverance and heart can overcome any loss, even the loss of both legs. Mount Baker, a dormant volcano in the northern Cascades in Washington state. At her feet, the small town of Everson. People here have another potentially explosive neighbor, a pair of huge underground natural gas pipelines that run beneath their backyards. One night, without warning, one of the gas lines erupts. Night becomes day. A 400-foot torch of natural gas lights up the valley below.
God, the whole mountain up there is just lit. Oh, man.
And some even think the volcano is erupting.
We both just looked at each other and went, "What was that?"
Susan and Russ Powell are home just a few hundred yards away when they're jolted by the explosion.
It sounded like a plane coming down on the house or somebody dropping a bomb on us. And my next thought was, there's nowhere to hide.
The house shook and the ground rumbled, and all of a sudden the sky lit up, and all I could think was Mount Baker Blue.
He's half asleep, and he goes, "It's a bomb. Got to get out of here."
Just down the road, Linda and Greg Barleen see the fireball on the ridge.
Oh, it's bright. It's hard to drive.
With their video camera rolling, the Barleens head toward the huge flame. It appears to be spreading in the direction of the Powells.
Then when we went up the driveway, the heat came right through the car. I don't think we ought to go up there.
I don't think we have a choice. We've got Russ and Susan up here.
It's hot. I can feel it through the car. Boy, when he opened his side of the door, it just got hot.
The whole house shook.
It was so noisy. And then we had to shout to talk to each other at all.
Even from a half-mile away, the roar of gas escaping at 700 pounds per square inch is deafening. It's as if they're standing next to a jet engine.
I've never heard anything like it, and it scared me to death.
The amount of natural gas an average family of 4 uses in a year burns every second.
All I know is it was close, and it was hot, and it was huge, and I was in complete awe.
The gas control center of the Northwest Pipeline Company is 1,000 miles away in Salt Lake City. Alarms flash on their computerized maps. Minutes later, crews shut off valves miles apart on either side of the rupture, but it will take hours for the gas in the ruptured section to burn out. At daybreak, the damage is clearly visible. The rupture leaves a crater 25 feet deep and 75 feet long. Fortunately, no one is hurt and no homes are destroyed. Rescue crews still don't know what caused the break. They fear a second, even bigger pipeline running parallel to the damaged line may rupture at any moment.
I'm gonna get right here. I'm getting right up in the damn hole.
Greg Barleen, Russ Powell, and a friend don't realize the danger as they go in for a closer look.
An awful big ravine.
Just beneath them is the second pipeline. The gas valve has not been turned off. The pipeline is still actively transporting natural gas. Trees are burned to their stumps. Huge chunks of the steel pipe are embedded in the ground 150 yards away. Then, just 24 hours later, another explosion rips apart the very same pipeline. This inferno is 250 miles to the south in Kalama, Washington. Once again, a 300-foot fireball creates a spectacular sight. Fortunately, there are no injuries or property damage. These ruptures raise unsettling questions. A catastrophic pipeline break is rare, but for it to happen twice in 24 hours is unprecedented. An investigation by Northwest Pipeline indicates part of the cause lies with Mother Nature.
We've been able to determine that there was land movement in the area that caused significant strain and stress on the pipeline, that it caused the pipeline to rupture.
Geologists like Susan Flame say the pipe was laid through 2 ancient slide areas that haven't moved in 1,000 years. But rainfall had been above average for 3 years prior to the break, softening the hillside. Underground and undetected, tons of mud slowly pushed against the pipe until the steel pipe could bend no more.
Picture yourself taking a paper clip, straighten that paper clip out, and if you bend it back and forth, it will actually bend back and forth quite a bit before it ever breaks. Compare that to a very thick-walled steel pipeline, and you'll begin to see how much flexibility you can have in a pipeline.
The rupture exposed the underground pipe to the air, To catch fire, all that was needed was an ignition source. In this case, the breaking steel caused a spark, and the torch was lit.
I don't think there's any recklessness or neglect on anybody's part. It's just one of those things that happen.
Pipeline operators use many techniques to try to prevent such ruptures. Northwest Pipeline routinely inspects its 4,000 miles of lines, running from the Canadian border to New Mexico. It does so by air, on the ground, and even under the ground, with a device known as a smart pig, an unmanned electronic sled on wheels. The pig travels down the pipe at 5 miles an hour, checking for cracks and weak spots in welds. Later, engineers can read its electronic mapping device, know precisely where any problems lie, and begin digging for repairs. Linda and Greg Barleen find these assurances comforting. They now have a new respect for their nearest neighbor. The pipeline that exploded runs right next to their house.
I know now I would be more conscious when they say they're going to be doing something different.
Northwest Pipeline is adding new motion sensory devices to slide-plagued areas in Washington state. They hope to avoid any more unnatural eruptions. Fire engines race to a raging fire that roars through a 12-story office building in New Delhi, India. Hundreds of panicked workers are trapped inside. In desperation, one man tries to save himself, but plunges to his death. As firefighters battle the Inferno, daring construction workers risk their lives on a makeshift bamboo bridge in a rescue attempt. It is a fire that never should have happened, but it could have been worse. June 29, 1987. In the bustling capital of India, Motri Sen, an office worker, prepares to leave for her job in one of the city's modern new high-rises. She is one of the 2,000 people who work here, as does R.K. Takar, the owner of a food corporation. At 10 a.m., Takar is at his desk on the 5th floor when the fire breaks out.
I didn't waste a single moment. I didn't even pick up my personal belongings.
As fire engines respond, Takar and his co-workers race down the 5 flights of stairs. Once outside, they are shocked by what they see.
We could see the fire leaping up from one floor to another, people crying for help, some were trapped, some were inside the room, some were trying to jump. It was a heart-rending scene.
The fire has started on the 5th floor in the office complex where Motri Sen and her colleagues are working.
There was heavy smoke coming from the corridor. So we tried to go out, but the lights went off and we could not proceed further. We had to come back. So we thought maybe somebody would come to rescue us.
Toxic smoke and flames in the hallway trap Sen and her co-workers in their office. Desperate, they crawl out onto a window ledge to wait for help. But the fire is getting closer. Sen, seen here sitting on the ledge, is frantic.
There was a flame coming from the next window where the computer was. So I got more scared.
Firefighters try to reach them, but their ladders are too short. The flames quickly spread upward to the 6th and 7th floors. The only fire exit is blocked by office rubbish and filled with smoke. Some workers escape, but 200 others are forced up to the roof. While horrified spectators watch from below, construction workers from the neighboring building try to help. Using bamboo poles and a cement bucket from their work site, they attempt a dangerous rescue. But they lose their grip. Problems also plague the firefighters. One of their ladders jams. There is no pressurized water in the building and no emergency lights to guide them through the thick smoke. Fire Chief S.K. Derry says his men were frustrated by the conditions.
So once I reached on this spot, I could assess it that it's not going to be an easy job for us to do there. And there were only 2 staircases in this building. The staircase, which was to be known as a fire escape, was basically a dumping ground for all the broken furniture.
The fire rages out of control for 3 hours. Air Force helicopters attempt to airlift people from the roof. But Chief Derry turns them back, fearing their blades will fan the flames even more. Sen, stuck on the ledge, faces a desperate choice. Should she jump or wait? Either way, she risks death.
My colleagues and all, they started shouting, please don't jump, be there, we'll save you, you'll be saved, at any cost we'll save you.
Finally, a fire engine arrives with a longer ladder, which reaches her window. And she is saved. On the 12th floor, construction workers make a bridge between buildings using scaffolding, rope, and a ladder. They risk their lives by crawling across the makeshift bridge to help 24 trapped workers make the perilous walk to safety.
It was a very brave effort, this rescue operation, immediately improvised on the spot.
Finally, 7 hours after it began, the fire is declared out. Fortunately, only 3 people are dead. 56 others are hospitalized. Motri Sen knows she barely escaped death.
I got a second life there. I really thank God and my colleagues and the firemen who had saved us, saved me at that crucial time.
Investigators trace the fire to an overloaded electrical system on the 5th floor. Overheated cables ignited wooden doors that covered the electrical shaft. The flames shot up the electrical shaft to the upper floors. Fueled by combustible carpeting and wood ceilings, the flames spread rapidly. Ultimately, the tragedy is blamed on a disregard for fire safety. The building lacked fire extinguishers, hoses, smoke detectors, and alarms that were required by law. And the office workers themselves may not have understood the danger the fire posed.
All others could have walked to safety. I'm sure some of them must have ignored the fire. They'll bring it under control. Why bother? Carry on.
The fire and its images have had a lasting impression in New Delhi. The fire department has been better able to enforce its strict high-rise fire codes. Office buildings all over the city have been inspected and violations corrected. The fire is now just a memory, but those who survived will never forget the incredible bravery of ordinary citizens who refused to stand by while others were in peril. Monster waves crash along a dangerous Northern California surf spot known as Mavericks. Surfers say a wipeout on these 30-foot waves is like falling off a 3-story building, then having the building fall on you.
Somebody going!
He got crushed.
But a professional surfer has never died on a big wave. Until now. Mark Fu is considered one of the best big wave surfers in the world. So when he wipes out on a modest 15-footer, no one is concerned. It isn't until his body resurfaces, still attached to a fragment of his board, that his friends realize the sea has claimed one of surfing's greats. His death stuns the surfing world. And what happened on Mark Fu's last ride at Mavericks is still a mystery. By the time he arrived at Mavericks in 1994, the confident 36-year-old Hawaiian was calling himself surfing's consummate living legend.
This is H3O, Hawaiian Heavy Water TV.
He is the producer and host of his own weekly surfing show. So when word spreads that the largest waves in a decade are hitting a remote California coastline,
the legends have arrived.
Mark Fu is there. Mavericks is a dangerous rocky outcropping and reef break 22 miles south of San Francisco. It was discovered by local surfer Jeff Clark. Over time, he has learned of Maverick's hidden dangers.
There's caves down there that are like rooms. And the rocks out there are not round, they're really sharp.
The water here is so cold, it saps strength, cramps muscles, and shortens the time you can hold your breath underwater. And the underwater caves can trap surfers thrown into the violent surf.
Seas 16 to 20 feet, highest winds and seas in the northwest.
Reports of 20 to 30-foot waves are drawing surfers from around the world. The cause? Hurricane-force winds blowing near Alaska. Winds of that magnitude generate swells that can travel thousands of miles. When they hit landfall, they produce enormous waves. Photographer Stephen Spaulding is filming the action from a camera boat.
The waves were getting better. The lighting was getting better. The talent was all there. It just seemed to kick in a high gear, and it was quite a show.
This is Mark Fu's first visit to Mavericks. In the water with him are professional surfers Brock Little and Mike Parsons.
Parsons' first wave.
I had a great time, caught some really fun waves. We were all really excited, in a super good mood. It was just really good surf.
The group surfs all morning with no problems. Then they spot another large set of waves.
There was a really big set that came. Mark took the first wave of the set.
It would be the last time Mark Fu is seen alive. Next, Mark Fu's last ride and the search to explain his disappearance. After successfully riding several of the monster waves hitting a remote California reef, surfer Mark Fu barely gets into position on another. But this time, he loses his balance and falls hard. He's drawn up the face of the wave and thrown over the crest, disappearing into the pounding white water. From another angle on the shore, he falls hard on his face. He's now at the full mercy of the wave. He then appears as a silhouette in the roof of the wave before he's thrown forward into the crushing white water. Seconds later, Mike Parsons and Brock Little catch the next wave. Like Fu, Parsons loses his balance and falls. He is smothered by the full force of the cascade. Little is overwhelmed by the churning white water as well.
The wave came down right on my chest, and I was really definitely scared underwater because I knew I was in for a ride when you wipe out on a wave that size.
As Parsons and Little toss and turn, Parsons bumps into something.
Deep underwater, and I was thinking I was tangled up with Brock because I felt a body bump into me. When I look back at the video footage now and see what happened, it was actually Mark Fu underwater that slammed right into me underwater.
Little makes it to shore, battered and bruised. Seconds later, Parsons washes up beside him. Both are exhausted. Parsons paddles out to the camera boat and calls it quits for the day.
Got thrown into a cave. Got held under for 2 waves. Thought for sure I was dead. I don't know how I lived.
But no one has seen Mark Fu since his wipeout.
So where's Fu?
I don't know.
Fu broke his board.
For the moment, there's no cause for alarm.
To tell you the truth, I didn't even think about it. I mean, I don't think anyone thought about it.
We just assumed that he had gone in to fetch another board to paddle back out, and that can take some time. So we just assumed Mark was on shore. We didn't realize that he was lost.
That's sick, man. That's so
Despite photographers on the water and spectators on shore, no one realizes Fu is missing. It's not until an hour later, when Parsons and Spaulding make a grisly discovery.
And just near the entrance to the harbor, we spotted another piece or two of Mark's board. And one of the pieces Mark was attached to, and that's when we discovered that we'd lost Mark.
I actually was really almost in shock. I got to the harbor, went and called my dad.
His father's answering machine records Parsons' emotional phone call.
Mark Fu is dead. No. I just pulled him out of the water. Oh, that's terrible. Nobody even saw him. I didn't see him. I didn't know. I was right next to him.
The fact that I bumped into him underwater is it's something that, you know, for a long time I'd wake up at night and think about it. It's a pretty eerie thing, pretty scary thing.
The official cause of Mark Fu's death is drowning. There were no signs of head injury or broken bones, only a small cut above his eye. Local surfers believe Fu may have been trapped in an underwater cave and drowned. Despite Mark Fu's death, the allure of Maverick's Reef continues to grow. Fu was one of the most skilled surfers in the world when he lost his life there. Less skilled amateurs testing Mavericks are inviting disaster.
Oh, he got hurt on that one.
But still they come, many of them coming close to paying the ultimate price. Those who know Mavericks say it's only a matter of time before it claims another victim. For Mark Fu's friends and family, his legacy to the sport is a brave inspiration. He died the way he told his friends he wanted to, chasing the biggest waves in the world.